This podcast is sponsored by Refine Recovery. If you're struggling with substance abuse, mental health, just need someone to talk to, give me a call at the number below. We'll get you out of that situation you're in. So this is episode 5 of the Recovery Refined podcast. Our guest today is Chris Howard. He's been a great mentor to me and was pivotal in my journey of getting sober. You're just going to see this kind of cut in. We started just rolling. I could talk with Chris all day, but wanted to formally introduce him. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode. The weird thing with like treatment recovery is because you're selling someone on being sober, right? Like that's where it becomes like an altruistic thing. But
Well, it's not an altruistic
yeah,
thing. I think that's the problem.
yeah. Well,
Like,
because you're trying to guide them to your,
w
whatever like you have invested in,
well,
right?
the truth is treatment's fucked up AA. Like, all
Yeah.
of the like, this is actually, like, my when you're like, "Oh, it's an altruistic thing," it's like, even listen to how you talk about it. You work at a treatment center, you also have probably an altruistic element of self that is like, "Oh, I do this because I love people," and it probably isn't the pay, at
Hmm.
the end of the day. And in all actuality, when you think about, like, treatment, though, it isn't like an altruistic thing. And what has fucked up a lot of people's perspective on AA is they went into treatment and then treatment was just cranking people out to 12-step
Hmm.
meetings to fill in a certain couple hours of the day, or maybe they believed in it
Hmm.
too. But it started to salt people's perspective on like what the program was. Because even now, I'll probably get flack on this part for sure.
Hmm.
AA, as we know it, is nothing like what the program was designed to be. Like, there's all this bullshit about like you need to be done with your 12 steps before you sponsor people. That's not the
No. Yeah.
program. Was like, I got 2 days more. I read like the doctor's opinion and shit. Like, I'll just sit down with this guy and like help him because I'm a little bit further than he is. It was just two alcohol. Like, anytime, one thing I always remember, and there's like all these dumb little taglines from the
Yeah.
program is like, but anytime work is mentioned in the big book, it talks about like working with
Hmm.
others. So when people go, I'm working a program and they're not sponsoring people and not giving back, or, and even sponsorships bullshit. There's
It's
sponsorships
not
never
not mentioned in
mentioned
the
in the
book.
big
Yeah.
book at all.
Yeah.
Like, not once. Right.
It's like all you need a sponsor for is literally a fucking fifth step. Like that's the only thing that
Yes.
they talk about working and then carrying the message to other alcoholics,
Well, and
right?
it
But
doesn't even talk about a sponsor, though. It just talks
yeah.
about reading it with some
Mhm.
other person. It could be a fucking priest, you know what I mean? For all you know.
Mhm.
But I just think like part of the problem is what's damaged AA a lot is like people trying to integrate treatment into 12-step programming. And the reality is I also do agree with this, and I probably would get shit over this. I think a lot of these fucking kids now aren't even alcoholics, bro. I think a lot of people who end up in AA who are in treatment have like fucking mental health problems
For
and
sure.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Cause I get dudes who come in from time to time and they're lost
Mhm.
in their lives 100%. But a lot of people who end up in there are being pushed into a program that really isn't designed for
Mhm.
them. AA was designed for alcoholics
Mhm.
and drug addicts. Well, maybe not alcohol. AA was not designed for drug addicts. Actually, it was vehemently against drug addicts to the point where NA
Well
was
they
formulated
talk it
by.
like there's a bunch of like conflict in the rooms about that though too, because they talk about sedatives and other shit in the big book,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, and I think just back then drug use wasn't prevalent, like in the 30s when they wrote that shit,
Well, and
you
it
know?
was viewed as like beneath
Yeah, you're
beneath the
below us.
well-to-do who have drinking my scotch and
Yeah, we're
brandy.
fucking businessmen out
Yes,
here who
yes,
are
yes, yes,
yeah,
who
for
are
sure.
leaping off the building
Ye
because Wall Street just tanked.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
But I think you're 100% right. Like there are a lot of people I mean, LA has one of the craziest AA communities out there, right? Like
Drugs
there's
aren't
meetings everywhere.
separated.
Nothing's separated,
Hmm.
but when I go back to meetings in St. Louis,
They're
it's
not
like
playing.
don't fucking
They're
talk
not
about drugs,
playing.
go to NA. And I've been to NA meetings where they didn't want me to talk about fucking alcohol, which is
That well,
crazy.
it's the
Like,
same, and that's
yeah.
the iron. The funniest shit about NA is like the clean
Yeah,
thing.
for
I
sure.
always trip out on it.
Yeah.
There's a. Do you know Randy Q?
Mm-mm. No.
You should get Randy Q on here. I'll
Okay.
get you Randy's
Okay.
number. Randy's like the homies with Danny Trejo,
Okay.
but Randy was like lifer gang member. His mom was in prison. His mom got sober, helped him get
Mhm.
sober. Craziest story. He's a pastor,
Okay.
like a he's like a like literally goes and speaks publicly, but he was I worked with him facilitating groups back in the day. And me and him we'd start getting in the like how we're talking right
Mhm.
now. We start talking philosophically about recovery stuff, how all of us were actually doing in here before we even
Yeah,
started it.
yeah.
We start throwing this out. Oh, well, this is what this was. You know what I mean? And I go, you know what, Randy? Anytime I go to an NA meeting, I love their stories. Like
They're gnarlier there for sure. Yeah,
like
yeah.
NA, like someone from NA, like a low bottom NA fucking person who got their shit together is like the I like live for stories like
It's
that.
also it's like the cadence of how they speak though
Yes.
too. It's like they're preaching at Baptist church, which I
100%,
love that shit. Yeah, yeah.
100%, 100%, and I think even people who aren't drug addicts and alcoholics go into that shit and could appreciate
It's
it.
testimony, yeah.
But what I cannot stand about NA, and I used to tell him, I was like, "Bro, I get down with everything about NA. I don't even give a shit about, like, I think it's dumb, like the separation of clean versus sober. We're not sober, we're clean
Yeah.
here. Like they get fucking serious about that. I go, but what bothers me so much is the fucking jailhouse prison culture in NA, dude. It's like
Yeah, for
so
sure.
thick,
There
dude.
everybody's like loped up and yeah,
Spread.
yeah.
We're gonna have a barbecue this weekend and we're gonna have some bomb ass spread. Da, da,
Yeah.
da. And I was like, and then he'd be like, I know, Chris. They don't like they just I agree, you know. But that was like my only critique with NA was that there was like a heavy, 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 heavy jailhouse population,
Mhm.
like or like the mentality was still on street shit,
Yeah.
you know. And then in the San Fernando Valley, there was a thing that was like probably like maybe it was like 8 years ago. All the dudes who were like the main fuckers in NA had like a massive methamphetamine ring going on. It
Oh,
was
so
like
they were like trapping in
trapping
clean or
in
sobriety or whatever?
NA,
That's
moving
fucking
weight.
crazy. Like, I mean, and you see, like, it's crazy when you get a bunch of people together who have like a storied past, right? Like the shit that happened with Dharma recovery too. You know,
Yes.
like it's like you
Yes.
give these people a platform or like access to a network. Not everybody has the best intentions, you know?
Well, I think that's like this thing I've coined like LA Buddhist, you
Yeah.
know? Like I'm gonna label myself as something,
Mhm.
but I'm not gonna partake in all the principles that require me like diligently live by all that
Mhm.
shit. You know what I mean?
For sure. Like, it's even in, like, AA, like, you can very quickly tell somebody who's, like, living emotional sobriety as opposed to physical sobriety if they're, like, practicing the principles in all their affairs. Like, I know dudes with 6, 7 years sober, but their behavior with women is completely fucked up, right? Like, they won't integrate changes in their life. Like, I'm a big believer in, like, the steps fucking worked for me. Like, I
Mhm.
tried everything else but just doing the fucking steps and, like, cleaning up the wreckage of my past and all of that bullshit you hear in meetings, but, like, actually going back and trying to right the course of all the wrong I was doing, and I had that, like, experience where I'm like, "Oh, if I just, like, stay aligned with this, like,
Mhm.
my life will take this new trajectory." But there's so many people who just, like, check off the fucking boxes and never go back to that shit.
Well, and I think this is like the problem now where I'll also be mindful about how I communicate this because it might come off a certain way. But like I don't actually give a fuck how much time people have anymore. I've also seen dudes like that have had years and years in sobriety, cheating on their
Mhm,
wives, doing all this fucking shady shit, and like being held in a regard that they are um like holier than like a
mhm.
messiah
For
complex,
sure, yeah.
you know? And then I've worked with dudes. I've actually been fortunate enough to work with a few people, and I don't wanna condone this, but I think it's who have ultimately relapsed,
Mhm,
and basically that's what they did, but didn't their character didn't disintegrate. They were getting high, but didn't turn into this fucking thing where they were like nefarious shithole people. Because my whole philosophy and what I operated on is if you get lied, you're gonna be loaded, you're gonna be a scumbag. I will say most people I feel like kind of divert to that. I also think there's a byproduct of that where culturally we perpetuate that narrative. Like if
mhm.
you get loaded, everything's gone. It's
You're a
actually
piece of shit,
well, no,
yeah.
not only you're a piece of shit. There's a thing. It's called the abstinence violation effect. Well documented
Mhm,
fucking evidence based research thing. And the abstinence violation effect is in abstinence based recovery is like there's a philosophy imbued into all of us that if you fuck up, everything's gone. Yeah, I mean, that's not you start over, you go back to square
mhm.
one. That's not actually true. Some people actually just fuck up and then, like, can get back on the
And
horse.
go right back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and just like,
Yeah.
"Oh, shit, I wanted to go smoke weed. I fucking smoked weed. What a dumb decision. I got back." The problem is that's not typically what happens. People smoke weed, then they go, "Oh, fuck, I pissed away 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 15 years. Well, fuck it. If I pissed away all the time, I'm back to square one in terms of time, 0. I don't got shit. I didn't learn shit," because that is fucking the narrative,
Mhm.
and then they burn their shit to the ground, and that's how people end up dead.
Well, and that's how people get stuck in the treatment cycle too. It's like you're in sober living, maybe you get
Mhm.
a little bit more freedom. You go down to the liquor store and you like get kratom or some shit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you take some kratom, you get honest about it, and some places will just bounce you right back to detox and restart your whole fucking treatment cycle instead of being like, you know what, dude, like you fucked up, like get honest with it, maybe have some punishment within like the environment that you're in, like whatever that looks like, instead of like restarting your whole fucking journey.
Well,
Like,
that's been, like, the major changes in the houses.
yeah.
Cause like, back in the day, if someone relapsed and they had a job, you're quitting your job, we're taking your cell phone,
Mhm.
all your shit's being you're literally going back to square one.
Yeah.
And it's been interesting because over the years, I've gradually shifted the direction in terms of how programming works within Ethos.
Mhm.
And a lot of it was like, if someone relapses, like, you're not quitting your fucking job. You're showing back up to
Yeah,
work.
suit up, show
You're
up,
gonna show
dude.
up to
Yeah.
work. When you come home from work, you're gonna turn in your phone. We're gonna hold you to a rigid schedule in terms of when you get back, when you not get back. Sometimes we'll have a dude go with you to work and a dude be there when you get out, so you have support more so than anything. But the reality is I hate all that shit. This is like where the fucking treatment industry fucked everyone up because they're like, "Oh, well, he relapsed. If I refer it over here, later on they'll have someone who comes
Mhm.
in there, they're gonna send back and blah 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 blah." And it's like, but the problem is detox oftentimes is a country club spa.
Mhm.
And I don't knock it. Detox is supposed to be that.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be it's supposed to be very comfortable. But problem is like over time when people will get high to go back to an environment they deem more comfortable
For sure.
just because they don't want to fucking adopt responsibility and step into adulthood.
I remember one of the first things you said to me when I called you for help, which we haven't really touched on that yet, but we will, was you're like, "Enjoy your fucking time over at Detox," right? Like, take as much time as you can, as much as, like, insurance will authorize you. Enjoy your time because as soon as you get out of there, it gets real and it's gonna be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and I appreciated that honesty because that's the fucking truth, right? Like, I think that there people like, "Oh, I gotta go to fucking detox, it's gonna suck." That's, like, the easiest your recovery will be if you work an honest program and you really care about getting sober. It's, like,
Yeah.
the easiest it is in detox. All you really have to do is, like, sweat it out, like, everybody's kind of handling everything for you. Residential is a little bit different. Maybe you're, like, digging into some issues there, that
Mhm.
can bring up some shit, but yeah, detox is really the easiest fucking part.
Well, and detox, the problem I have with like detox, residential, PHP, IOP, none of this shit's treatment.
Mhm.
All of it's stabilization.
Yeah.
These are acute care models. They're not built for long-term change. They're built like an urgent care. Like you have like a presenting issue, you go in for X amount of days. Okay, here's some fucking tools and shit, and like maybe you're gonna use them, but most of them don't enact sustainable change. I mean, the recidivism rate across the board is 40 to 60%.
Mhm.
If I told you every time you got in a car and you got in an accident, there's a 40 to 60% chance of you fucking dying or the car bursting in flames, the car wouldn't be allowed on the road. But
Mhm.
for whatever reason, like the proliferation of fucking treatment, and in all actuality, I remember I used to get like really irritated with treatment providers. Everyone's just like cashing in on a system that produces a shit ton of revenue and insurance dictates the terms of it. If insurance wanted it to change, listen, if they don't want to authorize shit, you're not saying anything to insurance. They can downright, and we both know
Mhm.
this, there's times where they deny authorizations on people who need it more than anything,
For no
but then
fucking
you'll get
reason.
an authorization for some person who's fucking used Kratom 2 times. They'll get, "Oh, they gave us 30 days."
Yeah,
You're
which
like,
is
"Well."
crazy, and if insurance really cared about people getting better, they'd pay for a year-long treatment program where, like, you reintegrate all these principles or whatever foundation you build into real life, like, that's the hardest part.
Well, I sometimes actually, you know what? Because what people don't understand is that when treatment started, all these programs were year-long program, not commercial insurance, but state-funded insurance, Cry Help, Delancey Street, all the fucking initial therapeutic communities that were hardcore, those were all year, 2 year, 3 year, some of them were even longer,
Mhm.
but they became like cult-like,
Yeah.
which is why some of them were effective in all actuality. But I don't know necessarily. I think a minimum length of stay is probably 6 months,
Mhm.
and like longer term is 12 to 18 months. But some people, like we have a guy fucking who just came in the house, bro. So at 6 months, I was like, bro, I would graduate that dude.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same for everyone. I think a lot more people need more sustained accountability because you're trying to. I think the reason treatment doesn't work in general is you're trying to shift attitudes, values, beliefs, behaviors, coping strategies over the course of 30, 60, 90 days. And this is why I think AA is just the shit, is because AA imbues a lot of the character changes just by you taking commitments and showing up for them. You're engaging in contrary action. And a lot of drug addicts end up in the situation they're in because they engage in avoidance behavior. If you're in Pacific Group, good luck avoiding it with your fucking sponsor, bro. They're going to be riding your
I
ass.
know
And
from experience.
you're
Yeah.
going to have to wear a fucking suit when you go to the meeting and yada, yada, yada. And not to say that that's for everybody, but, I just think, it takes a lot more to get recovery. And now the irony is like there's this dude who I see on Facebook all the time, and like everyone's got a new solution.
Mhm.
Like there's fucking, but there's like I don't know how many, there's 90 different coaches and this that, and it's funny because like I've never, everyone's like you need to develop a package and da 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 da, and I was like I just, no,
Mhm.
like, I haven't. Maybe one day I would, I don't know. But I sit there and I look at it, I'm like, "Oh god, this shit's all bullshit."
Well, like a package for what though?
Like, coaching
Yeah.
package. And
Like
I'm
what
like,
you can provide and
"Yeah, it's
shit,
all
like
fucking
yeah.
nonsense, and what I can provide is telling you to get your head out of your ass and fucking go do what you need to do." Most of the time, you know what you need to do.
Mhm.
You know what I
For sure.
mean?
It's interesting too. It's like because that like it's the one size fits all approach. Like if you have a package of what you can do that
Yeah.
you post online, it's like you might have to do something different with each client, right? Like that's kind of
Uh-huh.
what it is to help people. You get to know them, you get to know what they're resistant to do, like their patterns of behavior, and then you try and
Mhm.
intervene, right? And like kind of give them a guide to creating a new life, right?
Well, I didn't get you sober. I was like a person along your journey. You
Yeah,
got yourself sober
for sure.
is
But
definitely like what transpired. Um, I don't know. I'm a substance abuse counselor, certified case manager, interventionist, who participates in social media and things of this nature, even though I despise most of it because I probably judge people in a negative light who participate in this, including myself, you know? But it
yeah, I mean,
works.
you are
We're
right.
here.
I got myself sober, but, if it wasn't for I got sober from a podcast, Bob, like hearing him talk, and then Bob was like, "You don't need fucking treatment. You need to call this dude Chris Howard. You need you" he go I what he told me is he goes, "You don't need treatment. You don't know how to live sober, so you need to go to fucking sober living." And he told me to shut the fuck up and listen, which I was like, "I didn't know people can talk to me this way," which was the best fucking thing that ever happened to me because I was like, "Oh, these people care," you
Yeah.
know? So shouts to Bob. Maybe we'll get him on at some point too. But Bob led me to you. You led me out to California, and yeah, I'm forever grateful for that, bro.
Bob's great.
Yeah, he's a,
Very polarizing figure,
for
though.
sure. I remember talking to him, and it was just like the amount of time he dedicated to me without pulling a fucking dollar.
Yeah.
Like, I had never had that experience, and from you too.
Yeah.
Like, you
Uh-huh.
guys didn't say my other experience in treatment was like these giant fucking conglomerates where they just wanna do a pre-assessment and get you in the door. They don't wanna talk about
Yeah,
what their
yeah, yeah.
program can fucking offer, and they didn't get to know me. And then I'd show up, and I'm like, "This is not what I
Bullshit.
fucking need," you
Yeah.
know?
All bullshit.
So yeah, in a way, you guys set me on the path to where I was able to finally get out of my own fucking way.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
crazy. How long did you end up staying in the house for until you bounced out?
like 30 days. 30 days I made it at Ethos.
I still think you should. I feel like to this day, if I'm fully transparent, had we not sent you to RI, you would have stayed through the program.
No, I think so too. I mean, we had this
If I'm
conversation.
honest.
If I
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have like the court requirement shit where I had to do PHP and all of that, I mean, look, I sent a family member to eat.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
see the
of
fucking
course, of
value
course,
there.
of course, of
And
course.
like what it was is it was
Your anxiety was it was also like a heavy crash course to land from, like, refined to ethos at that time, and you were like, "My anxiety, this
yeah,
is
for sure.
too
I mean,
much."
well, I think what it was too is it was like I didn't see a road to making it work because the house is like its own fucking clinical program.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
everything, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
family style element there, like I remember a few of the dudes, like I'm not gonna shout them out by name on here, but like a few of the guys who were in the house like took me underneath their wing, and I was like, this is like what I've never had in recovery.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a peer, like taking time to help coach me through the shit and get to know me. But yeah, then when you're going like with all of the curriculum that you have at
Yeah,
Ethos,
yeah.
right? And I'm like coming home from PHP, I'm missing breakfast, going to PHP, coming back, fucking trying to get a wad in, writing words and everything. Like
Yeah.
I never really got words besides awareness strikes. I remember one of the elevations I got. Do you guys call them elevations now?
Mhm.
It was a concern back in the
It
day.
was concerns. Mhm.
But one of the concerns I
We had to become politically correct
yeah,
at
that's
the
good
time.
though, you know, growth. I like elevation too, but one of the concerns I got was like, you seem like you're just doing too good right now, which was a valid concern because I was putting on a fucking mask. I'm like,
Well, you
I
weren't
got
really
this
doing
shit.
too good.
That
You like,
wasn't no. And then I'm
I
coming into you. I'm like, Chris, I can't fucking do it here, bro. And
uh,
like, so, but I told everybody when I got to RI for long term care, and I still see this now is like some of the habits I learned at Ethos like translated into my life today, like making my fucking bed every day, making sure my shoes are lined up on my little fucking shoe rack. Like those little things that breed self-esteem. Cause I'm the
mhm.
type of addict and alcoholic that like shit snowball effects. Like if I'm not doing that shit, my whole fucking room will be piled up with clothes and I'm
Yeah,
not folding my laundry. And the accountability piece was crazy for me.
yeah,
Like, you know, having a peer hold you accountable. So I'm
I
forever
agree.
grateful for my time there. And now it's cool. I get to like sponsor guys at the house and
We
you
love
know,
that.
yeah,
I
for
think it's
sure.
actually good in those
Hmm.
instances too, 'cause you have so many people who bitch and complain over there,
Yeah.
and you know the house isn't too good on, like,
No, not at all.
listening to bitching and complaining.
Well, I think, like, the manipulative type of person I was, like, I figured out how people wanted me to exist in the system, but that only works for so long
Uh,
because people can
you
sniff that
burn out.
bullshit out,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I wasn't, like, getting honest with the guys around me, but I was getting honest with fucking staff, you know?
Mhm.
And I think, like, in the treatment community, people see ethos as this, like, gnarly thing, but I remember when I was wigging out, and I'm like, "This is, like, cut and dry, black and white, like, I have to do this or I'm not gonna be able to make it here," and you were like, "No, just take a night off from the meeting and chill," like
No, I've had to, like, lay into a few treatment programs
mhm,
because the way they, like, threaten their clients with ethos, and I'm like, "Listen," and then when the dude comes to our program, they have such a, like, uh, ill taste in their mouth for what it's gonna be, and then a lot of guys, like, a few weeks in are like, "Oh, I wish they would've just fucking sent me here to begin with rather than
mhm,
going through PHP, IOP, the multiple detox res, in and out, whatever it is," and the reality is, like, that's actually what taints our model the most,
mhm,
because most people, if you're outside of LA, have no clue what the fuck it
yeah.
ethos is. Do you know
Well,
what I
that
mean?
you're actually wrong though, because like all of the people I know in my St. Louis network, like Ethos is highly regarded as one of the best
Oh, that's
men's
good,
programs in the country.
good.
Like clinicians that I've talked to don't talk ill of Ethos that I've met, at least from around the
That's
country.
good.
Like, because there's other programs like Burning Tree and like
Mhm.
there's a lot of people value that real fucking approach,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
instead of like I work with this case manager out of Missouri who's helped my family a
He's
ton.
the man.
What?
He's the man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
for
like
sure,
him. He's
for
cool.
sure. But fucking they appreciate like knowing what is going on with their clients. Like they could send them to a fucking detox res that refers them out to, you
Mhm,
know, whatever PHP
mhm,
IOP, but they like to be involved, which is what ethos like you guys take them away, but you give updates and like are
mhm,
involved in their care from day one, you
mhm.
know? Like the amount of times I've seen this doesn't happen with everybody too people at Refine who are about to go to Ethos, myself included, that start fucking tripping out. And Chris Howard's there at 9 o'clock on a fucking Friday night
Yeah.
talking to him about what's going on in the program, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. God, some of those dudes.
I mean, but it's because you care, bro. Like, it's
I
very
do
clear.
care. I do care. I for sure go through instances of compassion fatigue,
Mhm,
especially with dealing with people who've gone in and out of like multiple treatment episodes who I view as I think like part of what perpetuates a lot of this stuff is like this whole politically correct culture and treatment that's like, oh, these guys aren't supposed to feel shame. They're supposed to be surrounded with love and care and da da da. Da. And I'm like, dude, the problem is this guy's shameless. His
mhm,
attitude shit. You guys keep providing resource after resource to try to help this guy get better. And like all he does is just piss on everything.
mhm.
And I think for me, like I've had to learn how to articulate myself better because I probably cuss too much and stuff like that, and um, try to perpetuate feedback that is just more direct and like
Mhm.
matter of fact without being like every other word being fuck. You know what I mean? I think there's a place for it, but I also think I lose an audience with it.
Yeah, but it's like, are you trying to, you can't please the masses. Like, I know for me, when I was watching, and I actually showed my mom your fucking videos too, and she's like, I love how he just seems authentic. So there's like
Yeah.
a place for that. And I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like, I mean, I can think of a few people in my life, myself included, that I've learned how to weaponize like trauma and shame and like all of that
Ugh.
as a means to not have to address it. What I needed to feel when I got sober this time was shame and like looking
Yeah.
at where my
Yeah. A
life
little
was
bit.
and like it's what led to me wanting to make a change, you know? I mean,
Hmm.
did you feel shame when you were in sober living?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And wasn't that
I
good?
thought it was valuable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. 100%. That's why I have the philosophy that I
Mhm.
have.
Yeah.
But I just see like a neutered culture of treatment that I just find pathetic
Well,
oftentimes.
I might.
Overall, the overarching, that's the hardest part. Is like I can talk about it this way, but the truth is like it's not just my opinion. Like the overarching array of what the industry is through like the San Fernando Valley. Like I don't know any program like ours in the valley.
Mm. I don't really know of any other program. There's maybe 1 or 2 in LA as a whole.
New Life,
Yeah.
Awakening,
What
not to be confused with Awakenings.
yeah.
Um,
What, Last House Bodhi Casa?
Not Bodhi.
Okay.
Bodhi doesn't do the same. Bodhi's strict
Mhm.
100%, but they don't have encounter meetings.
Yeah.
There's no encounter meetings.
Mhm. Oh, like
Uh,
what, like
the
dinner and
groups,
everything? Yeah,
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 for sure.
the
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's
long-winded
part of the
ones.
reason I get done with PHP, come back, do a chore, and it's like 2.5 hours, like,
Yeah,
at a dinner, and then
yeah,
Unity group.
yeah,
Unity was one of the coolest things, though, because you get to see the community, like, start to call each other out on some
yeah,
serious
yeah.
bullshit.
I love Unity.
I remember the first or second one, there was a cop group, which that's
That was
an
the best. So you were in like a 5 or 6 hour one.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah, that
was
was a long
gnarly,
one.
and it's like you're not in the most comfortable chair, everybody's just thinking about hitting their vape, but it's like almost just like, we know we're not getting out of here until we get
Well,
honest,
when
right?
we got rid of also like at the beginning of it, there's a bowl and everyone has to throw their vapes in the bowl
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because dudes would get up and go to the bathroom
Mhm. It's a
and
ch
stay
I'm
and
telling you, it is a mental fuck, though, when you are sitting in Unity and staff
vaping.
has their vape,
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
and
yeah.
they're, like, hitting their vape, but it was also
I
like
got
a
rid of it.
You did?
I got
Oh,
rid
that's
of it
good,
because
yeah.
of that. It was like a little over a year ago. I was like, you guys can't vape. I told graduates too. I was like, you guys can't even vape in the house. I don't give a shit if you're a graduate.
Yeah. Well, that's solid because I remember one of my biggest gripes is, like, I'm sitting there, I'm a resentful,
You
like,
can't
30
vape.
days sober, I'm like, "I
You
can't
can't
fucking
vape
vape, this dude's blowing
the whole
clouds
time.
over here."
I was so
But
horrible.
it's an ego check that's necessary, right?
I
Like
don't know if that part was necessary. It was just like I don't like at the end of the day, I think it was a sense of entitlement, which is what it is, because it's like we all graduated the program. You guys gotta fucking sit here and there'll be a time when you can sit here and vape at
Yeah,
the same time when everyone this is earned, you know what I mean?
it's
Like
like a
rites of
sober
passage.
fraternity, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
rites
for
of
sure.
passage. You didn't earn the fucking right to vape. I've been sitting here. Listen, there's dudes, how old are you?
31.
31.
Damn.
So then when we break that down, like when you were in fucking, what is half of that? So
Like
you're in
5
14 years
yeah,
old. I'm running groups. I was literally running groups when you were
yeah.
14 years old,
How old are you?
40.
Okay.
So
So,
I was
yeah,
running groups.
yeah.
I was literally running groups when you're fucking 40 years old. So then when dudes come in there with an attitude about shit, I'm like constantly like, dude, I've just been doing this too long. I'm the curmudgeon
Mhm.
at a relatively young
Yeah.
age. Do you know what I
For
mean?
sure, and it's interesting because it was kind of what you were talking about of, like, you don't give a shit how much time people have too.
I
It's
don't.
it's like we get this perception though, like, because of how long somebody's got sober or where they're at in the industry. I hear you all the time talk about you're one of the most teachable guys from, like, seeing
I
how
try
things
to be,
play
but
out, yeah.
even as you say this right now, it makes me uncomfortable.
It does, why?
Because I've watched a lot of dudes in my position, especially these guys who run like massive amounts of
Mhm,
houses, develop a messiah complex.
mhm.
So I think for me, it always makes me uncomfortable when it's like, oh, you got all your shit together,
Well,
like you're Chris Howard.
I'm talking
Da, da,
about
da.
the opposite of it because I feel like those guys are super rigid. It's like my way or the highway. What I meant by that is like you take stock of what's going on around you and like you're willing to make adjustments, like just like you were talking about with the vaping thing. Like a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
programs have the same fucking rules they did 20
yeah,
years
yeah,
ago because they're
yeah,
like it's my way or the highway, this is how it works, you
yeah.
know? And I think that's a common misconception, at least when I hear people talk about ethos like in our community, is that it's like super fucking rigid. And like from my own experience, like I could tell you it's not. Like you guys met me where I was at. Like I was
Well, if we were that rigid, we wouldn't even let you go to RI, bro.
yeah,
I'd
for
have been
sure.
like, we'll fucking figure something else out.
Yeah,
You
for
know what I
sure.
mean? You pay for to see a fucking therapist and they can write a letter to the court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's like we were talking about earlier when we were talking about AA and like the egos that go into that and like sponsorship and all of that shit. Like it was, I don't know why this just came up in my brain, but it's like the same as when people have like strict guidelines about how their treatment program must be ran, right? They're unwilling to see that maybe there's a better way. It's almost like these people who get the idea of sponsorship and that like they have to snail people through the steps when back the way the literature was written is like
Move.
you're making fucking amends in 48 hours
Yeah,
and knocking
move.
doors to build self-esteem, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you want to get through this shit. It's kind of trippy.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the irony of it is that what people don't understand is like all a bunch of this shit that is law now in the program isn't also real.
Mhm.
Like AA was so fucked up at one point that they needed to make an additional 12 traditions because people were at each other's throats, playing God, all this
Mhm.
shit. And like even to this day, like I just like I don't subscribe to a philosophy where it's like I'm powerless
Mhm.
because the way powerlessness is talked about in the rooms is not like I'm powerless over drugs and alcohol. It's like, no, 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 I'm powerless.
Over life. Yeah, I
Yes.
can't control anything,
Yes,
which
I am.
yeah,
It's bullshit.
I've seen your videos talking about that too, which I fucking like it's very clear in the literature I'm powerless over drugs
Mhm.
or
It
powerless
says
over alcohol,
alcohol.
but yeah,
Same
drugs and
difference.
alcohol,
Yes.
same shit. I talk to our clients all the time, and especially our alumni, where they feel like they have no power. And I'm like, the only thing you're admitting you're powerless over is a substance. Like
Mhm.
you have a lot of power in your life. You have power to make good decisions. You have power to make bad decisions, right?
Yep, I
Yeah.
agree. Well, and then like the other thing that gets tied into is like you can't date in your first year. Like
Mhm.
people literally believe that shit. And it's like it's not that you can't date. You probably over the years they saw a lot of fucking
Mhm.
relationships explode and you probably shouldn't and it's worth you taking heed to that warning, but the reality is like people start playing God. I'll fire you as my sponsee if you go fucking date this guy and it's like who the fuck are you?
Yeah. It's I remember
You're literally delusional.
one of the first things you told me was when I talked to you about my problems with women, and, like, we were on a phone call, and I'm, like, still half fucking drunk out in
I
Rhode
know
Island at my
exactly what
grandma's
you're
house,
about to
and
say.
you're like, "Oh, we're gonna deal with that, you're gonna date some women in the house."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you have to.
like well, most people wouldn't say shit like that, right? They're like, "Oh, well, maybe we'll deal with that down the road." You're like, "Oh, no, we're gonna have to address that," right?
Yeah, eventually, and I believe dudes should date while they're in the house. I
Yeah.
also believe that, like, not always, but like, for the most part, oftentimes, like, if a chick's like, if you're a gnarly drug addict and an alcoholic and you're dating a chick, she probably has problems.
Mhm.
Like, I say that shit to guys all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, if a chick is interested in you while you're strung out on dope, she's got issues, bro.
Yeah, it's like the dented can aisle, like, it's kind of this group mentality, you
Yeah, yeah,
know?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
lesser companions, for
Yeah.
sure.
I believe in that shit still.
Yeah.
I think, dude, it's so funny because every now and then I'll say that to like a parent with some kid, like, "Ugh, how did you say that?" I'm like, no, it's just like, honestly, I like, think about it. Like,
Mhm.
why the fuck would you be interested in this guy? Unless you want his money.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because he's not a vision for you. And then there's once in a while, maybe I tread a little lightly on it because I've met a few dudes who were just like good motherfuckers. They're just drug addicts. They're rare breed, but there has been like the more what I've learned over time is I used to view like addiction and alcoholism in a very myopic, narrow view. And
Mhm.
then like when I started to challenge my perspective a little bit, I'd be like, oh, they're like drug addicts who are like relatively decent people. They just fucking love narcotics.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
For sure.
They're not horrible people.
Mhm.
They don't steal from people. They have their own money. They just wanna do drugs.
Yeah.
And as a result of their drug use, they withdraw from intimate relationships, and it creates other problems where people wanna intervene on them. I'd say, that's the exception rather than the rule. I don't come across them very often
Yeah.
because I think there is a natural, de-evolution that people have as a result of substance use, but I have seen people come through where I'm like, "Oh, you just like are, you're like not horrible. Your character's not fucking all trash."
It's crazy because, like, when I think about my own personal, like, I would have told you I'm not that bad of a guy, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would compartmentalize it. Like, I was very, very good to my friends. Like, never still. So if you ask my friends, they'd be like, it doesn't make sense. Like, we don't think he's that bad of a dude. If you ask my girlfriends, like, this guy's a fucking piece of shit. And my family would be like, yeah, he's got problems. He's like stolen from us, like all the things, right? So it's like interesting how people can present in different areas of their
Uh,
life too, right?
yep.
Like, it's not like a one like, you're just either a piece of shit or you're not,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, globalized.
yeah, and it's interesting watching people get sober though and keep, like, those shitty areas of their life. Like, the more time that I get, or I guess not even the more time that I get, the more I'm exposed to newly sober people, and I get to see how they, like, operate in their first, like, 6 months
Uh-huh.
to a year, and you can see how people are unwilling to look at some of that behavior, right?
And
It's
why
usually
do you think that most of it's centered around, like, sexual intimacy with the opposite or same sex?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's either sexual intimacy or a lot of it comes down to like I see a ton of it with sports gambling now too.
Process
That's
addiction shit,
process.
yeah,
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 yeah.
process addiction.
They're like unwilling to let go of those two things. Like,
I'm not getting loaded though.
yeah, for sure. Like I'm
No,
fine.
I'm not getting
Well,
loaded.
there's some people who just get sober to not get loaded anymore. They don't get sober to become a better person. Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
become very clear to me. I
yeah,
have
yeah,
a few of my good friends who are kind of like that. It's like they're kind of pieces of shit towards women, like, they still have the same behaviors, manipulating, talking to multiple women at once, don't see the value of being honest, but they don't drink anymore, you know?
yeah. Well,
And
and then what'll be harder later on, hopefully it doesn't happen, but what I've had to deal with is, like, when I keep people like that in my life, I'm like, they're good people because 'cause they're good people to me. Like, I'm a firm believer in, like, there's people in my life, on the periphery of my life, who are genuinely horrible human beings.
yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah,
Like, I mean that. I mean that, like, to the core of their existence, like, probably killed people, like, they're just literally ho you're like the worst human beings
mhm,
on the planet. But over the course of my existence, and luckily I pulled out of a game that they continued to keep
mhm,
playing. They understand that I'm, like, sober and I don't operate in that world, but when it's their birthday, I go out to dinner with them,
yeah,
like, a few times a year, and when they have someone who needs help in their family, they hit me up. But I understand that those guys, I just am not in, like, in their sights,
mhm,
but those guys fuck people over left and right,
mhm,
and what has been hard is at certain points, there's been a 1 or 2 people like that who I've had in my life who I've like, oh, then I'll be like, "Oh, help me with this thing," and then I get burned by them, and I remember being like, it just happened one just happened last year, and I remember being like, "How the fuck could this dude burn me? It doesn't make sense." Da, 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 da. And then it was like, "Dude, this dude has burned literally every fucking person in his life, burned his own wife,
mhm,
burned his own kids." Like, he's just that's who he is, and for me to be fucked up over the fact I'm the
yeah,
dumbass. It's not him. He just did what that's that dude's programming.
Mhm.
His operating system is that. And I thought like I was different. And the truth is that I was different up until that point because I just never put myself in that position
Mhm.
because I knew better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, I haven't read the book, but it's like the whole "let them" thing where it's like, let people
Oh,
be who they are instead of fucking trying to change them.
Rob.
Not a fan, I'm guessing, but
No,
I
dude.
haven't
I
read
just
the
like,
shit.
hey, it's just like everything in social media. You know what? Mel Robbins is dope. I don't want to shit talk her,
Yeah.
yada yada yada. But I'm like, oh, just let them, let them. Okay,
What
please,
well, what the
bro,
fuck does that mean is, like,
please.
the
Okay,
difference
leave your
piece.
door open. Then,
Yeah, but it's like
you
what you
know?
were saying, though, is, like, really seeing people for who they are and not being upset because they're just playing with their deck of cards,
Yeah.
right? Like, I see that all the time, like, I struggle because I still have a little bit of integration with my old life too, where it's like, there's people who have certain behavior patterns that are always gonna be in my life,
Hmm.
right? And I'm like the only one out of my immediate friend group that has like gotten sober. Like not all my friends are addicts and alcoholics. Like I by far was like one of the bad characters. But there are certain people who have behaviors in other ways that will like hit that Hail Mary call to me at like 11:30 at night and want to talk about changing their life. And at first, I remember the first few times I got those calls, I'm like, fuck yes, he's finally ready. Like I'm gonna get him out here and blah 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 blah. And it never goes that way,
It's
right?
all
It's like
bullshit.
it's because where they're at, it's like that's just who that dude is. Like
Mm,
he's always the one to be the boy who cried wolf. Like
uh-huh.
people who make change don't call and like basically like poll the masses about it, about
Uh-huh.
what they should do. They just fucking they call someone like you or like Bob
Yeah.
and not one of their friends.
Foxhole. It's a foxhole prayer.
Yeah.
I have one homie. I swear to God. Shout out Jared if this ends up
Yeah.
getting posted. But the dude's actually Minneapolis.
Mhm.
He's in Minneapolis. That's like right by there, right? By
St.
you.
Louis is like 5, 7, 8 hour drive.
Like it's
Yeah, yeah, not
close.
far.
So I'll tell you, this guy, my entire childhood livelihood, the worst methamphetamine addict I've ever seen in my life, bro. And it was funny because when he used to like come off these like 1 week long runs of robbing people's houses and shit, he'd always come to my house, be like, can I sleep with my grandma? I was living in my grandma's house and shit. So he'd come there and he'd knock out and sleep, and I'd be, like, going in and out of my house, leaving for all day,
Mhm.
and he'd just sleep for 2 days. And every time he'd pop up out of it, my closet was filled with pills, and whatever it was, and, he would go, he'd wake up and be like, "Hey, can I get some bars or da da da?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, go ahead," like, and I would always let him go into my stash, and he'd open it up. I always remember because I would always it was always be the same shit too. He'd be like, I'm like, "Dude, you could take, like, 2," and then he's like, "Oh, bro, can I get, like, 5 or 6 of them?"
Pushing the line
He's
a little
pushing
bit.
it,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I don't care, like, whatever, bro, like, you've been up tweaking," and he coulda stole all my shit,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And I always was like, very OCD about numbers, so I knew I'd come back and check my shit.
Double count
Never
on
would
ya.
steal from he never stole from me, and what was even crazier is I remember this time he called me, I'm in my living room with a bunch of dudes, we were smoking heroin or something like that, and he calls me, he's like, "I need my bolt cutters." And I was like, "I don't know where your bolt cutters are, bro.
That's such a tweaker, like, item to have,
I don't
bro.
know where your bolt
Yeah.
cutters are." He's like, "Yeah, they're behind your TV." And I had, like it was like a narrow nightstand with, like remember the old square TVs? The
Yeah, yeah,
ones
with the
the
yeah,
big
yeah,
daddies.
yeah, for
It's,
sure.
like, crazy because it feels so
Mhm.
like I'm fucking, ancient times, you
Yeah.
know? He's like, "It's behi" so it was, like, in a corner, so it's, like, this narrow, and it's in a corner up on top, and there's, like, you push the glass open to where there's, like, shelves inside
Mhm.
of it. I look behind it, the bolt cutters are there, and they were the ones that are, like, this
Giant,
long,
like, to
and
yeah.
he had broken the one of the handles had snapped off, and it was he had screwed in, like, a wood like a broom handle on the
Yeah,
they were
it's a real tweaker fucking bolt cutters.
tweaker
Yeah,
bolt
yeah.
cutters. And I remember he used to do this. But what's crazy is like he just actually recently he's in a program and shit. But like I think about he's the only dude that I look back across everything be the worst fucking scumbag drug addict robbed every single person in his periphery. I would trust that full to this day. He's never burned me once.
Mhm.
Like never, ever, ever. He always maintains loose contact with me. He just got he's actually I have to call him actually when I leave here because he got into a program, and he's like, "Ah, I gotta fight this case. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here." But he was living on the street. I mean,
Mhm.
he's living in the fucking streets in Minnesota in the
In the
winter,
winter? Oh,
bro.
fuck,
And
dude.
he's like, "They came through, they took all my shit. I got no fire here." He could be on the phone with me, bro.
He's
Like,
a
dude,
real
real
one.
deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Real deal.
yeah. Yeah.
Real. Like, as this is and he's transcended any place I ever thought that I
Mhm.
would go. But he's one person who I look at who's like, I think when people talk about, there's like a lot of things where we go, there's no honor amongst thieves. But old school thieves, like old school mafioso heads,
Mhm.
before everyone told on each other and stuff like that, did have there was some construction
There's
of
a code.
character. There was
Yeah.
a code that people lived by. Even not murdering cops or
Mhm.
women and children and stuff like that. And the only reason why I bring that up is because I think oftentimes the underworld where which we all come from, and whether you're like a two-bit drug dealer or someone who's moving massive weight for the cartels, the philosophy is there is no honor amongst thieves. But in that world, I think it mirrors like the regular world. It's
Mhm.
interesting when I talk about it. I used to trip out because in the house, the snitch mentality.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
have to
I've
tell
seen
on
that happen
everybody.
there. Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to tell on
Yeah.
everybody, and then like what I realized was what tripped me out was when I used to talk about it in the community, I would be like, "Oh, you guys use this bullshit underground mentality of like I'm snitching on my boys, but that's all street shit. That's not real." And what I realized was it took me a long time to understand this, but that's not true. It's not a street thing. Tattletale,
Mhm.
whistleblower.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
integrated into normal society.
being
Yeah.
a snitch
Yeah.
is not good
Yeah.
in any part,
Yeah.
from being a little kid,
Mhm.
don't tattletale on anybody, to you being a high level executive, whistleblower.
Mhm.
Like, it's all viewed in a very negative connotation, from street level drug addicts and drug dealers to like little kids on a playground to corporate level executive. It's ingrained in
Mhm.
society. Nobody likes somebody who tells on somebody else. And then this is the hardest part, where when you're getting sober, and why I think a lot of programs suck. This
Mhm.
is my main reason why I think
Okay.
programs suck, is because you're basically, I call it the Burger King model of treatment. Have it your way.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that
Have
one.
it
I
your
love
way.
that
Yeah,
one. Yeah,
have it
yeah,
your
yeah,
ways.
yeah.
And I think the problem is you're taking people who operate in a culture where everyone just co-signs each other's shit. And unfortunately, in the world that we come from, drug addicts and alcoholics, people die when people aren't holding each other
Mhm.
accountable. So my whole thing always is like, while you're in a house like that, you should tell on everybody, bro.
Mhm.
You should become the fucking house mouse that tells on every single fucking dude who comes in there, and basically make it known that, hey, if you're gonna bring drugs in the house, you're not gonna fucking be here.
Mm.
Cause I don't wanna deal with it.
Yeah.
I literally don't wanna deal with it. And I think most of the time you feel like, took me a long time to understand that that was like the courageous path.
Mhm.
Because like actually being the person who like goes and tells in those circumstances, and I'm not saying to go make that apply in every area of your
Yeah.
life, because you'll fucking blow your shit up and it won't be met with
Yeah,
the
you won't
same
be able to hold
respect.
a fucking job in some places.
Well, and
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won't even, the truth is there's even houses where if you do that shit in now, they'll throw you out because you told on other people,
Mhm.
because they're fucking embodying the same
Yeah, the
jailhouse culture
mhm.
that like you're trying to undercut. But um, I've had to learn over time that like, oh, bro, like those are the dudes who like kind of sack up and are like, you know what, I'll fucking take risk. As long as it's supported by like management, like that's actually a hard ass thing to do.
Yeah.
Most dudes don't want to do it either.
I remember, having, because I would meet with you once a week while I was in Ethos, and, like, I remember in one of my first sessions, I'm like, "This dude's full of shit in this fucking way, this way, like, he's lying about this," and you're like, "You should go down to dinner and fucking tell all of them about that." And I remember how uncomfortable I felt.
Yeah.
I'm like, because we are not ingrained, like, it's funny you bringing up, like, tattletales as a kid. Like, when you're a kid, you see somebody doing something wrong, right? And you're like, "This is fucked up."
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether it's, like, stealing out the cookie jar, like, whatever it is, and you tell somebody about it, and they're instantly like, "Nah, don't be a tattletale. Nobody likes a tattletale." And so we get ingrained that it's like, "Oh, like, if I see an injustice, like, something that's fucked up, I shouldn't speak about it," right? And I think you're 100% right how it bleeds into everything. In terms of, like, recovery, I can think of a few examples of where I have a buddy and real story, I'm not gonna throw names out there, but I have a buddy who's relapsing and telling one person about it. And it's not like at first, he's a fentanyl addict. It's not like doing fentanyl and smoking meth, but he like takes acid. And he tells one dude about it who doesn't tell anybody else. But we're all still hanging out together and going to dinner and shit. 2 months later, he's fucking doing fentanyl and showing up to his house with his sober roommates, like, after they had been out of
Mhm.
treatment, and it's like, by not saying anything, bro, like, you're allowing people to exist in the world in a completely fucked up way where they start burning all these bridges.
Mhm.
Now he, like, can't get the fucking thing together, and who's to say, like, if you confronted him in that moment, like, what you're doing is fucked up, maybe he wouldn't have had to go down that path, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I agree with you. The problem is like humans have free will. Is what I've had
mhm,
to learn over time, and like I've been able to impose my will. If you're an ethos, you're good luck.
yeah,
You have a There's a higher probability of you changing before the system there
mhm,
changes. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And what I've had to learn is just like some people aren't. That's just like people have core beliefs, bro.
mhm,
Like to shift people's core beliefs, very difficult thing to do.
mhm,
Very difficult to get people on board with that. It's also interesting to see a lot of people who get on board with like the I don't snitch on anybody are the first people to roll on someone's ass as soon as they're about to be in hot water.
yeah.
You know what I mean? 90%, I think what is it? Federal statistics is like 80% of people cooperate.
Yeah, when you're
Fucking
faced with, like, a
crazy.
fucking crazy consequence and it's like, all I have to
Yeah.
do, like, your
Yeah.
values, you're not a snitch, go right out the window.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you did the fucking crime. Like at the end of the day, you're down for some shit. You got some serious moral characteristics that like you live by. Most people aren't.
Mhm.
Most people aren't. And the truth is, I don't even know if I would be. Like that's the
Yeah,
wild truth.
yeah, yeah, for
Like it's
sure.
easy. It's funny because like every time it's probably like my biggest gripe is like, you see shit on social media and stuff like this. I'm like, what is your like? I want to know like what your partner thinks like Wes Watson, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Know nothing about the guy, nothing to di no
He's
disrespect.
like the jacked, like, dude out of prison who's
Yeah,
sober.
yeah,
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 yeah.
but Wes Watson, here's the deal, like, loved Wes Watson's original shit. Then he got money and it became about, like, you ain't shit if you don't have money, like, he forgot about gate money that he
Mhm.
had, bro. Like, dude had $200 when he came out the Pinta,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's hard for me to have any respect, and not that he gives a shit anyways, bro's fucking makes $1,000,000 a month, whatever it
Mhm.
is, but at the end of the day, all that shit you were espousing where you started from, you're no longer that. You might have been that at one point. That's not what you are anymore.
Mhm.
And just get cool with that. But it weirds me out because every time I see shit on social media, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck this is this like a fad the
Yeah.
person's in? Is
Mhm.
this like that's why when you said the Mel Robbins thing, although I don't think she has sold out, she's been pretty true to who she is. At least everything that I've seen, I actually
Mhm.
think she's kind of dope in that sense. I know like, I hate all the
Well, it's like the tagline shit. Like, people don't do the research behind, like, I haven't read the fucking book and I just said the let them thing, right? Like, it's a prime example of, like,
it's so
you
funny,
consume
man.
shit on social media, you get a very small snapshot of whatever that thing is about, and it's the same as you were talking about, like, you get a snapshot of somebody's values, but you don't know if that's really who the
Mhm.
fuck they are, or if that's just who it's convenient to be for them to make money or them to accomplish their agenda, like, whatever it is, and, like, it's interesting in terms of addiction, like, it's the chameleon fucking thing,
But
like,
does it even matter?
yeah.
That's a real like, I don't know. Doesn't matter. I think it only matters when, like, you're Peter Attia and then you're fucking caught bragging and boasting in Jeffrey Epstein's inbox. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
as
yeah.
soon as you're caught I don't know that it matters. I think it only there's an old quote I always loved when I heard when I was early on in college, and it's like, "When the legend becomes fact, print the legend." You know
Mm,
what I mean? And it was really about how Paul Revere, one if by land, two if by sea. Well, the guy's name wasn't Paul Revere. It was like Yeshaya Yalom. It was
mhm,
something. It was actually like a Jewish name,
yeah,
and they were like, "That doesn't sound American.
mhm,
It doesn't." So Paul Revere, maybe he was there, but he wasn't the one who fucking um, made the whatever the one if by land, two if by sea statement.
yeah,
And the truth is like I think like the more I don't like even now, it's like do the right thing. I don't know. I've watched a lot of people be fucking shit horrible human beings, and everything looks like it's worked out for them.
Yeah, and what even is the right thing?
Let's say that's very relative.
Yeah.
That's highly relative.
Like, because there's the right thing, like, if you're talking about in terms of the world, right? Like, do good, right? That should be the right thing, but sometimes for somebody's own personal agenda, their right thing might be against the good,
Yeah,
you know?
100%. Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
which, like, that's something I've always that's how I used to operate, was like, I don't give a fuck what's good in terms of the world, like, I need to make things work for me, like, especially when I was faced with, like, going to jail and shit. I like, you hear in meetings all the time of, like, "Just be fucking honest, right? And everything is gonna work out." When I told my lawyer that shit, he's like, "That's the dumbest fucking shit I've ever heard in my life. Just
Yeah,
be
yeah,
honest."
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
like, and it's
yeah,
like all this, like, if you just do the right thing, God's got your back, which I do believe, right? Like I do believe in a higher power. I'm one of those people. It's not the man in the sky for me. It's like universal
Mhm.
consciousness, which is why I chose the sponsor that I have. He is like a great pitch on like how we're all interconnected and like there's something operating bigger than us. But like I just remember having that conversation with my lawyer when I was still like facing charges and shit. And he's like, "What makes you think that that's going to be good for anyone?" You know,
Yeah. Mhm.
like you getting honest and maybe going to fucking jail? Like that's dumb, dude. Like
Yeah.
and so it's like, is the right thing always the right thing, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's the hardest thing with being sober, like, long term is that you realize how nuanced shit is. Even the reasons why it's actually funny, there was a post that we, like, reposted yesterday or the day before, and it's, like, me talking about how, like, the root of addiction just isn't trauma for
I
everybody.
saw that, which I fucking loved. It's what the trauma loads the gun, genetics pull the trigger, or vice
Yeah,
versa, or
whatever.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And my whole thing with that is where people get lost in the sauce and like it's crazy. Like in 4 hours, 130 comments, like people are getting heated. You
Hmm.
don't know shit. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, number one, like great that it like caused that much engagement and stuff like that. But ultimately, what people don't understand is like they don't understand the nuance of like psychopathology, what drives addiction. Like I also don't even believe addiction's a disease, which is a whole nother conversation.
Hmm.
And there's a ton of evidence based research. But I think what ends up happening what I've had to understand is people don't like looking for information that conflicts with their belief systems.
Hmm.
And I've spent a significant time challenging all dude, I was like the hardest proponent of the disease model. I was
Hmm.
like, this is the only way. Hardest proponent of AA. This is the only way. And like the longer I've been sober, I've had to read and challenge my belief systems in certain manners in order to have a more refined, broader outlook of life. You know what I mean? Life, recovery, whatever it is. And the more I'm in it, I'm like, I can never ever just go, hey, the root of all addiction is one thing, which for me to say that I don't agree that addiction the root of addiction is trauma is, like, considered fucking heresy, is, like, a bunch of people who don't understand that we like, the one of the main proponents in clinical work is, like, we don't believe in a one-size-fits-all
Hmm.
model, but but here, we do. This is a no-fly zone, and I'm like, "Listen, some people" listen, I genuinely, to the core of my existence, believe some people do opiates solely because they love the effect produced by opiates.
For sure.
There's no fucking magic. "Oh, I was abused by my
Yeah.
father when I was younger." Like, some drugs just feel a certain way, and there's a thing in our brain called the dopaminergic axis where you have a learned association, and if something feels really good and you can function to some degree on it, you just start to pursue it.
Well,
If I can pursue it
that's
more.
my story with cocaine and alcohol. I wasn't doing blow as like a nightclub DJ because I'm trying to heal some fucking trauma or not
Mhm.
look at like my generational trauma, all that shit. I was doing it because it was fun and I liked the effect produced,
Of
right?
course.
And I was able, like you said, to function on it. Yeah, it's interesting. Like what can you define trauma? I mean, you're a clinician. What is the definition of trauma? It's like such a
No, I've looked I've read I forgot what that there's a book I read on post-traumatic growth,
okay.
which, like, no one ever talks about, and everyone's like, "We're a strength-based perspective." Well, how come you don't talk about post-traumatic growth? Because post-traumatic growth is a truly strength-based perspective that talks about, like, the positive attributes that come from people experiencing traumatic events and how it shifts their real world view. They have a closer
Mhm.
connection with God. They view certain relationships as closer to them. And the irony is no one talks about this shit. Wait, what was the question?
I was like, can you define trauma? It's such a
I
broad
forget
thing.
how
Yeah.
they defined it in thing. There's big T, little t. Now everyone goes into complex trauma. And listen, I'm a very fundamentalist trauma person. I'm a very big T person.
Mhm.
Everything else, if it wasn't, and like I think I have a lot of big T stuff
Mhm.
that I don't even view as trauma now.
Mhm.
I was in foster homes. My mom's boyfriend set our apartment on fire while we were in it.
Yeah.
My
So that
dad
would
went
be
to
like
prison.
me being adopted, like all those big life events that
Yes.
you can't control.
Yes,
Got it. Got
those
it.
are big T's, like,
Yeah.
can be big traumatic events, but the truth is, like, I don't even view those as big T's.
Mhm.
I don't I was literally on the phone talking about this today with somebody. I go, "I have no clue what genetic expression turned on in me, what had happened. I know that my narrative is not a victim mentality.
Mhm.
I, like, refuse that shit. I actually am disgusted by people who I perceive have elements of that, like, I have a real hard time with it, especially if they're really close to me. If it's people I work with, I'm like, "Whatever, this is,
Yeah.
like, part of what your shit is," but, like, when it's people really close to me, I'm like, "You better fucking drop all that shit, bro."
I feel
You're
the same way because it's paralyzing to somebody.
Yes.
Like when you have a victim mentality, you can't move left, right, up, or down. You're just like
Yes.
stuck here.
Yeah.
I'm going to be this way forever. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've had moments where, like, I veered into self-pity and shit where I started, like, imbuing that
Mhm.
philosophy and I, like, exhibit self. The only thing the irony is there's a ton of it's hard to find, but there's a researcher called Samenow, Samenow, who did all these studies on, fucking prison inmates.
Mhm.
And then you know what the number one factor was that got people to elicit change?
What?
Self-disgust.
Mm.
Shame.
That's true. Yeah.
Shame.
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer in some listen, we have a lot of guys at Ethos who come from really great families. When we talk about trauma, they're like, there ain't a fucking drop of that shit. Unless something happened at school we don't know about,
Yeah. Or a
doesn't
relationship
exist.
or some shit.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
doesn't exist.
Mm.
Doesn't exist. And a lot of these guys are just fucking shameless. A lot
Mhm.
of guys have characteristics that are entitled, but what I realize is oftentimes no one has ever confronted them about it.
Mhm.
They've kind of everyone's engaged around an avoidance behavior. I try to explain to guys a lot of times, like, you've been getting feedback for the world. The fact that you're in a program is feedback.
Mhm.
Whether or not you're like, well, they didn't tell me this.
It's like life is telling you you're in a fucking
Yes.
sober. Nobody comes in on a winning streak, bud. You
Yes.
know? Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Yes. You're getting the
Yeah.
feedback indirectly
Mhm.
one way or another. And I think people trip out. I have no filter. My greatest blessing is my biggest curse.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Intimate partnerships have problems because I don't in a lot of respects, I don't care how I impact somebody if it's my
Yeah.
feeling state. And I'm like, also, you should understand that my feeling state will change. This is how I'm feeling in this instance. If you understand who I am, you'll get it. If not, it's a you problem,
I'm
which
the
is
same.
fucked up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I
fucked up.
operate the same way. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is
It's fucked up.
yeah, for sure.
It's
It's tough to be in a relationship that way.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very
I
hard.
know.
Yeah.
I know. But I'm gonna get a crash course here soon because I'm having a daughter in June. Did you
You
know
didn't
that?
tell dude,
Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah.
That's
I'm
fucking
having a
crazy. Are
daughter
you
in June.
married? No?
I'm engaged.
Engaged? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
congrats, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Well, yeah, they say people say like you start to learn more about yourself when you have kids. Like I'm watching a few friends go through that right now. Is like they learn from their children like what behaviors they need to
I,
change
like, am
quickly.
so grateful for Bill Burr right now because I watched he was on, like, the Hot 97 thing with
Yeah.
Charlemagne and them, and, like, they were like, "Well, you'll see, like, what it's like because you're a parent, like, da, da, da," and he's like, "I feel like that always comes from people who, like, failed at being parents."
Bill Burr's the best.
He's
For
the
so yeah, he's
fucking
fucking
best.
awesome.
He's the
Uh,
best, and it's funny because, like, a lot of like, even my partner, she has, like, 2 kids from before, and she kind of says that shit to me, and I'm
mhm,
like, "Okay, we'll see."
mhm.
Well, I don't think people understand how stubborn I am.
But are
And
you
I don't
having a
give a shit. I like this is what people don't understand. My grandmother my grandmother was like a dude,
mhm,
like, literally. I'm going to raise my daughter the same way I'd raise a boy
mhm,
in a lot of
yeah,
respects. World doesn't give a shit about it. Like, a lot of guys are like, "Oh, no, like, it's gonna melt you. You're gonna see, da, 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 da." I'm
yeah.
like, "No, no, no. I don't think you understand how long I've worked with male and female drug addicts.
That's true. I guess it hardens your
I don't
empathy a
give a
little
fu
bit
I
too.
don't
Yeah,
give a
yeah.
fuck."
And what's your job as a parent to prepare your kid for the real
The
world?
world,
Yeah,
I'm a you know, this is the
yeah,
best shit I've ever heard. Her oldest daugh my stepdaughters, I, like, love. Love, love,
mhm,
love, love, love. My oldest stepdaughter comes in, and she's, like, griping about some shit, and I'm like, I even cuss in front of them. I tone
how
it
old
down
are
for
they?
sure, 12 and 9.
Okay,
And I go to the older one, and I'm like, she's saying something and she's griping. I was like, listen, I don't like, I'm not here to hear about any of that. Like, at the end of the day, it's your side of the street. Like, none of that matters. And then I go, and then I'm like, but you know why I say that to you, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, I was like, well, why? And then I started laughing. I'm
yeah,
like, the chuckle. I'm like,
yeah.
well, why do I say that? And she's like, because the world you're preparing me for doesn't give a shit about my feelings.
So
And I
she
was
went
like
right down the
and I
line.
was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
"Oh, yes." I was like, "She gets it, though."
Mhm.
And, like, she, like dude, it's weird. I never thought I could love kids so much. My stepdaughters are dope as shit. And it's interesting because, like, I get, like, a pre-parenting thing,
Mhm.
but I wanna see them succeed the same way as I would if I would wanted my own kids to succeed, and I think that's always been my gift within the houses. I'm just, like, not emotionally invested, I think, the way that maybe people are with their own kids
Well, are you talking about, like, the clients you have at
in the
Ethos?
house, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have to keep at arm's length, like, you know?
But even with my stepkids, they're also not my
Yeah.
children, so I'm like, "Hey," like but I don't know that I really don't think I'm gonna be that much different with my own
You don't
daughter.
think so?
Everyone continues to tell me, "We'll see, da da da
I don't have
da."
kids, so I have no opinion. I've seen some of my friends kinda change their ways once the
I
baby
believe
comes
that I
along.
will change my
Yeah.
ways to some degrees, but I don't think I'm gonna change in terms of the rigidity around my boundaries on certain shit. I actually think it might manifest a different version of myself
Yeah.
that might be a little bit more like, "This is actually what it is right now."
It'll be interesting though too, because as you evolve from like parenting, like is it a you're having a girl? Yeah,
Uh-huh.
as you evolve from parenting a 3 to 4 year old girl, like you kind of have to be soft and sweet
You
when
have
they're
to
kids,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And then how does the transition happen when it's like, okay, now the world doesn't give a fuck about your
Uh-huh.
feelings, suit up, show up, you know? Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm stoked. Congratulations,
I'm
dude.
not planning on beating my kids.
Okay, cool. Is there anything you want to talk about to wrap up specifically? What are you
Well,
hot about right now, dude?
am I hot about anything right now? No, I'm not hot about shit. I'm, like, more content probably than I have been in a long time,
That's
to be
good.
frank. Like, I don't even a lot of shit I gripe about, like treatment shit, I'm like, "None of this shit matters, bro.
Mhm.
All of it's changing. Everyone's gonna be on fucking mushrooms and ayahuasca and shit in a few
I guess we could
years."
talk about that a little bit, the psychedelics and treatment, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, I mean, I'm somebody who abused psychedelics for years, and I remember it was offered to me, in early sobriety that I had the avenue of a treatment program I was at to do, like, it was suggested by a therapist that I do MDMA treatment for trauma or PTSD, right?
Mhm.
Um, And I remember being like, "Well, I've abused that substance, like, maybe we try, like, some other things first." And they're like, "No, yeah, we're saying that, but it's like, if you can't heal those things without trying every other modality, like, it's on the table,
Yeah.
right?" Which how do you feel about that for, like, drug addicts and alcoholics to use a substance to
I think for treatment resistant people
Mhm.
there's no what do you have to lose?
Yeah, yeah,
That's definitely my philosophy with that. Entry level way into, substance abuse treatment, nah, not a fan,
yeah.
like,
Well,
not
if you haven't exhausted all efforts to try every other modality
yeah,
possible, but it's like I see people who have years of sobriety but have treatment-resistant depression, and
uh-huh,
they're fucking miserable.
yeah.
Like, who's to say that ketamine or ayahuasca
No,
or
I'm supportive of
psilocybin
all
yeah.
that shit, especially people who done, like, work. I know a few people who've done a lot of work 20 years sober, boom. They
Mhm.
go do ayahuasca journeys a couple times a year. Who am I to say shit? I know for sure though that in my first 3 to 5 years of sobriety, if I heard that shit when I first got sober, it'd
Yeah.
be like, that's all fucking bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I also know things have changed in terms of the information that we have now. Um, and I don't even know if the information matters as much as like I don't you're rare in the sense of that you had a hallucinogen addiction. The reality is the addictive profile of mushrooms, LSD, like the only people who want to eat LSD every day are schizophrenic people, bro.
Yeah, I
Like
mean, I would go through phases where it was like, I mean, I was in like the hippie culture dubstep community going to music festivals where I would overdo it, like taking like 10 hits of acid at a music festival and losing my sense of self for 3 days and like probably should have been
yeah,
committed
but
to a
that's
psych
not
ward.
you're not on it for like a month
Yeah,
straight.
but I would do ketamine compulsively, which
Ketamine is
is
a whole
different.
different thing because
Yeah,
if you go to the UK and you tell them, like I have homies from the UK, and they go, "Dude, what the fuck is going on over
it's
there?"
insane.
Because
Yeah,
in
yeah.
ketamine in the UK is like the party
Yeah, it's the
club
club
drug
drug for
is
sure, which
fucking
it's
it.
the realm I was in with like dubstep and EDM all comes from the UK. So the party culture came over here too. So like it's been a problem in that scene for fucking 10, 15 years. But now it's just like, oh, because you can get a nasal spray from a telehealth fucking doctor and people are like getting hooked on it and Matthew Perry's dying from it, that people are starting to see it in the
Those
US.
were
Yeah.
the lozenges, though. That's the problem
Yeah.
with ketamine too. Like typically, ketamine is administered
With
with
the
a
mhm,
practitioner.
for
Like,
sure.
there's different ways to go about that where it's not, like, so fucking loosey goosey,
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? But I think more when I'm talking about shit is the psychedelics.
Yeah. I think psychedelics, they definitely have their place, and like you were saying, if you've got treatment resistant depression, anxiety, PTSD, trauma, like, why not? Why not throw some shit at the wall to see what sticks? Like, all we want relief, right? Like, that's why we got
Yeah,
sober, you know? Well, Chris, I think we're running out of time. I appreciate you coming on, dude.
thanks for
It's
having me.
crazy to be in the chair, you know, across from you like this when 2.5 years ago, I was calling you drunk, like, "Yo, help
It's
me."
crazy. That was that long ago.
Yeah. It's wild. Well, congratulations
Thank
on,
you.
being a father. Is there anything you wanna plug real quick? I mean, you wanna talk about
Ethos
what you do?
recovery.
Ethos Recovery. You
Thanks.
got intervention, like
No,
kissing, yeah, all good.
lifestyle interventions, yeah, help people, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Whatever, just like link on bio or something like that.
Yeah,
What do
it
you
what
do? Hit the beacon,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Real
Is
Chris Howard.
yeah,
Cancer Chris Howard, no.
the real Chris Howard. Well, thank you
Yeah,
for coming on, bro. I
thank
appreciate it,
you.
man. Hell yeah. We good, Dove? This podcast is sponsored by Refine Recovery. If you're struggling with substance abuse, mental health, just need someone to talk to, give me a call at the number below. We'll get you out of that situation you're in.